Well, folks, I've gone from not posting anything for weeks on end to 2 videos within an hour, and I'll probably go radio silent for a bit after that. You might be relieved to know. Now, this is just a little update because people have been asking me. I know it's off topic and it's not an Interceptor or a GT or a Royal Enfield, but this is a 29-year-old Yamaha Diversion 600, and I picked it up for 250 quid. It hadn't run for 4 years, and basically the owner it stopped working one day and they just left it. So in the end, he said, "Look, you can take it away." I probably could have got it for less, but I know him, and you don't really want to sort of shaft people, do you? So I thought 250 quid, more than fair. He was happy, I was happy. Just on a chance, it's got a Delkovich stainless exhaust system, and it's not worked for 4 years. So I took it home. So that's when I first got it. It's got the most inappropriate aftermarket indicators I've ever seen. I've now removed them. And then I decided to try and start it using a car battery. And needless to say, it didn't start. It didn't do it. All it did was turn over. So at least I knew it wasn't seized. So what I did was I thought, right, it's worth taking a chance on. So I drained the fuel out the fuel tank and the carburetors, and it was like Belgian white beer, as I said before, I think in my previous video. Just really disgusting, and didn't even smell like petrol. And it's obviously gone off in the tank and it's gone off in the carburetor bowls. So I drained them and drained the tank, swilled it out with fresh petrol, and basically I use a product called Stabil. You add it to fuel in your tank, and if you ever leave your bike for 3-4 months, it stops your fuel going off. It's great for lawnmowers over the winter, because I've found that modern fuel is going off really quickly. So this is what was wrong with the bike. It has an electric fuel pump. Now that cost the princely sum of 10 quid on eBay, and it fits no end of Japanese bikes and other bikes actually. And it's just basically a diaphragm pump, because on the Diversion and lots of other bikes, the fuel outlet is below the carburetors. So some bikes have a diaphragm pump operated by the inlet manifold suction, like the Yamaha XV125 and XV250s, for example. But this one's got the electric fuel pump. So I noticed that when turning the key, the old fuel pump just kept, making this sort of pumping sound, but it didn't stop. It just carried on doing it forever. And that was because the diaphragm was broken. So I replaced it, and while I got the bike in bits, I thought, investigating the problems, I thought, I'll have a look at the clutch, just see what's going on in there. So I drained the oil, which was remarkably clean. Air filter looked brand new. I replaced all 4 plugs with iridium spark plugs, which I'm very fond of. And there's the clutch. Now, as you can see, on those driven plates on the left, you can see it's not been used for a long time, because you can see the marks of each individual little cork pad, can't you? So what I've done is to use fine wet and dry sandpaper on them, and measured them. They're all within spec. I used a vernier caliper, and they're exactly the thickness they should be. So just a question of cleaning them up. Same with the cork plates, or fibre plates, whatever they are. They were in spec as well. And the actual engine oil I took out was really good. Looked clean. This is the clutch casing, and you'll see on the right there's a spring-loaded activator for the clutch. And there's a hex bolt which holds it all in place. Now the thread had gone on that hex bolt, so I've now retapped a thread, used a stainless bolt with an O-ring, and replaced the seal in it as well. Now I also thought, fine, the rear caliper was in really good condition, exactly like that, so it's obviously a replacement. So what I did, the original brake hoses were very badly corroded at the crimped joints on them and just looked manky. So I bought a pair of these Venhill braided, but braided hoses covered in nylon. That's the engine side casing, which originally was black. And you'll see, well, I've sprayed it and lacquered it. It's got, it's never going to be a show winner, this bike. However, it's possible to make any old machine look a lot better. So I bought stainless Allen bolt kit. As you can see, there's 2 on that circular casing there. And that's on the other side. Now, I bought these on eBay as a complete set from Stig Fasteners. For something like I think it was 13 quid, for the entire engine. You get all of them with some amazing instructions. So if you're thinking of doing it, contact Stig Fasteners on eBay. I think it's one word, Stig Fasteners. There's the kit. That's one side of the kit. So on the right hand side there, you've got the clutch cable arm. That's what the clutch cable goes into. And I just lay the bolts out next to each other. So I took them all off in order. It's fairly obvious how they go, but what a difference, really. Removing the old ones. This next shot shows the old bolts, manky. I mean, look at that. It's 29 years old. They've lasted well, and, the galvanising on them's done very, very well, really, for best part of 30 years. But, it's so cheap to do, And this is the front caliper, which was in a hell of a state. Now, I sent that away to a refurb place on eBay, Glovers. And if you type in Caliper refurb or whatever, what they did was it was manky, crusty, when you get that horrible aluminium oxide, and I should have taken a picture of it, I always forget. But anyway, for 50 quid, they will refurb your caliper, sandblast it, put a new bleed nipple in, as you can see, take the pistons out and polish them, They turned mine, 48 hours, and they sandblast it and then paint it a colour of your choice. So, a seal kit costs 23 quid on eBay, plus then you've got the aggro of doing it yourself. I've done loads and loads of calipers in the past, and I don't have a sandblaster. And it's a real job to make a manky, crusty, oxidised caliper look good. They'll do it for 50 quid, and that includes the return postage. Amazing. Royal Mail 24. Now, I decided that I would lacquer it. So I just got some just normal lacquer. And I sprayed it. It's got a bit of a sort of wet look about it. But that's with a bit of lacquer on their paint. Their paint is brake fluid proof and all that. It's and I put the front caliper back on, and then did the trick that I mentioned in a previous video for the Royal Enfield. If you ever have a problem bleeding your brakes, just leave the lid off your reservoir and just gently tap the lever, and all the bubbles just come up. And you don't even need to use the bleed nipple. I didn't on the Yamaha. I just kept tapping it and all the bubbles came out. End of. That's stainless steel bleed nipples and caps, which are available on eBay. And as you'll know from my previous videos, I do have a bit of a thing about stainless steel. Replacing manky stuff with stainless. Once you've done it, it's done, isn't it? I then bought a pair of cheap mirrors. I mean, look at that, 7 quid. The Yamaha's a bit strange because it doesn't have a reverse thread on one of them. They're both clockwise threads, standard threads. But 7 quid. So the previous owner, when you get a bike that's old, previous owners do strange things to it, like the Yamaha's had the fuel pump relay. Instead of just buying a Yamaha one and plugging it in, no, they had to snip off the block terminal and put spade terminals on it, and then attach some other relay, which works fine. But, it's my pet hate, really, when people get the snippers out, start cutting blocks off. This shot here is just to show, the difference that stainless steel can make. So I've done the handlebar clamps, and you'll see the perch on the right-hand side there for the brakes. And, it makes a hell of a difference when you're taking out manky old galvanised ones that have been there 30 years. That's the front caliper in place with the Ven Hill cable pipe attached to it. And like I say, to bleed it's the same with the Royal Enfields. If you're struggling to bleed your front brake and you're getting brake fluid all over the place because it gets everywhere, doesn't it, regardless of what you use. And I even tried one of those reverse things that's supposed to suck it out or push it in. It didn't work. All you got to do is just tap it. Just keep tapping, all the bubbles come up. This is the bike now. Now, you know, it's never going to be a winner of a show, you know, but, well, I welcome your opinions. Would you say it looks better? You know, I've done a fair old bit to it. Pleasant prating about. What do you think? I mean, I think it's an improvement. You've got all the stainless engine bolts, and obviously I put a new fuel filter on, new fuel pump. What else did I do? New plugs, drain the carbs. And, you know, like I say, previous keepers do things. You know, like for some reason, somebody's drilled 4 holes in the front of that screen. Why? I don't know. I might try and buy a new screen, actually, because those 4 holes, I've blocked them with stainless hex bolts, but it looks a bit steampunk in that area, doesn't it? I think I'm going to try and get another screen for it if I can. So the fork seals aren't leaking. The brakes are now fully functioning. I fitted EBC brake pads front and rear. And when I got the bike, the Delkovich exhaust system, which is stainless headers and cans, you know, again, the previous keeper, or a previous keeper, attached the straps, you know, that hold the cans on, attached them using these giant metal brackets that look like they'd come off a cement mixer or a tractor, to attach them to the pillion footrest, and tighten them up so much that the pillion footrest would not deploy. You know, you couldn't use it. I'm sure that would be an MOT failure, quite honestly, but you know, I just made some alloy brackets, moved the straps further up the cans and mounted them more sensibly, you know. Not making out I'm a genius or anything, but, you know, you've got a bike where you've got all the original brackets were left on the bike, you know, for the standard exhaust system. Great big metal brackets with rubber bungs in them. You know, and it's the same, there's no indicators on the bike, as you can see in that picture, because I'm waiting for the small black ones to arrive, which I think are more suitable than the silver bullet ones. And, you know, but they left the original brackets on at the back end, you know, having relocated the indicators. And so anyway, I got rid of all that stuff, you know. I even got a grinder and cut the alloy arm, as you can see, just on the left of the can there. But anyway, here's the result. Okay, well, that's the Yamaha now fixed, as I'll show you. There it is. It's never going to be a showcase bike, but it's perfectly possible to improve it and fix it, obviously, because it hadn't worked for 4 years. So of course the fuel that was in the tank had gone off, the fuel and the carbs had gone off, and the original fault that the previous owner, it stopped working. It was a £10 fuel pump. That's all it was. So basically the bike stopped working and he left it for 4 years. So now, here we go. Let's see what you think. That's the engine stone cold. Well, not stone cold, but pretty cold. It's got the usual clutch rattle. I've done a fix on it, but I think it could carbs balancing, so I'm going to get some vacuum gauges because you can hear it. I can pull the clutch in, so it goes away. Very common on Japanese bikes. Let it out, you'll hear it again. It goes away about 1500 revs anyway, but there you have it. Working. Incredibly, it red lines at 9,500, which for a 29-year-old bike is quite rare, I would have thought. Result. So there you have it, folks. That's the Yamaha up and running. The next stage is going to be get those indicators on and then take it for an MOT. And probably I'll get it insured. It's tempting, you know. I think the total project cost on that has been, including buying it, has been about 500 quid, maybe 475. It's tempting to think, oh yeah, I'll sell this and make a profit. But then it's also very tempting just to keep it, actually, and run it. I mean, you can never have too many motorbikes, right? I don't know. I think I'll probably keep it. Yeah. It's a cheap bike, isn't it, really? So, yeah, I'm going to take it for an MOT, drive it carefully to the MOT station, which is about 15 miles away from me, the one that I use anyway. And I don't know. I'm tempted just to keep it. What do you reckon? Let's have a little straw poll. What would you do? You paid $250 for a bike and about 225 quid to do it up, or get it going again and improve it a bit, I hope you would agree. Do you keep it or do you sell it? I like it. I think it's a lovely machine. Let me know what you think anyway. So there it is. That's the story so far. I might post a little video once I've got the indicators on, and I might, if it passes its MOT first time, which it should do if I do it properly, I might post a little celebratory video. You know, like when they launch a ship. I won't smash a glass bottle against the fuel tank. I might squirt a can of Red Bull on it. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching if you've managed to get this far without falling asleep. And ride safe on your bikes. Take care, and I'll post again soon. Bye for now.